As you know, this evening we'll be announcing the 2011 National Enterprise Network Award winners. Before then, I'd like to introduce you to our host for the evening, Julia Hartley Brewer. With a number of years as a broadcaster and columnist, including regular appearances as a panellist on Have I Got News For You and Question Time, Julia will be offering her take on current affairs and politics and sharing some of her stories from her time as a political journalist before the winners are announced. So please put your hands together for Julia Hartley Brewer.
I'm hopefully going to be remembered as the lady who forgot to bring both stiletto heels, so was wearing her flat sandals. Anyway, despite, like Wilfred, our speaker earlier, being born in Birmingham, in Borstal Heath, by the way, my parents said it was at the time frequented mostly by students and prostitutes. My mother assures me she was the former, not the latter. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit about, well, a bit about the economy, a bit about politics, a bit about Westminster, from where I hail. And what a summer it has been. Eurozone in crisis, the American economy is in the doldrums, our own homegrown economy could be heading straight back into recession if you believe the doomsayers. We've had the long-awaited Independent Banking Commission's report, published just days ago now. They say nothing is going to be done until 2019. I'm sure that is good news for our sponsors, Barclays. And of course, 2019 is roughly when this award ceremony is going to finish. Don't worry, over by Friday, I promise. But never, I would argue, has the work of the National Enterprise Network been more in need. And the recession has, well, it's certainly started to bite everybody, even me. I was talking to my driver on the way here tonight. No, I asked him, I said, you know, have you been hit by the credit crunch? Have you felt it at all? And he replied, sorry, I'm not allowed to talk to passengers while the bus is in motion. But you know, things have got tough, and I think for everybody, and for many people things are only going to get a bit tougher. The Greeks today have been told by the German Chancellor and the French President to sort out their economy. I'm told the basic issue in Greece is that the Greeks view paying tax as something akin to tipping. It's optional. Luckily, when it comes to tax in this country, I know I'm going to be all right, because whatever the British government does, I know that I will be fine. And the reason I know this is because I was at university with the Chancellor, George Osborne. No, I wasn't the dominatrix with whom he did cocaine, allegedly. Rather more significantly, though, I did once buy George, as you do, in a charity slave auction. Many years ago, we did that sort of thing. Now, he knows, I told him this straight, that if he raises my taxes, I'll tell everyone what I made him do. Put it this way, there were rubber gloves, but there was no washing up involved. But anyway, this summer, it hasn't just been eventful. I know what you're thinking about that. Don't think too hard, it's a horrible image, even without the dominatrix and the cocaine. But this summer hasn't just been eventful on the economic front, as you'll know. We had the Arab Spring, with violence and chaos and great upheaval, but hopefully all worthwhile when everyone gets a free vote. Back home, we've had the August riots with violence and chaos and upheaval, and hopefully all worthwhile when everyone gets a free pair of designer trainers. I don't know about you though, in London the rioting got a little bit close to home. It was about a 10-minute walk away from my home at one point. And then I found an email from a friend informing people, if you are worried that the riots are going to hit your neighbourhood, just put your postcode into this website and it will tell you if the riots are going to come to you. So I dutifully went to the website. The address? www.jdsports.com/storefinder. It was a remarkably accurate predictor. But before becoming a radio presenter, as I am now at LBC in London, I was a columnist and a political editor of the Sunday Express for many years. And I'm sure you know, journalists don't have the best reputation, shall we say, for being upstanding members of the community. We may have enjoyed exposing MPs for their parliamentary expenses, but us hacks love the company expense account as well. As my old boss used to say to me, I didn't come into journalism to eat from the set menu, drink house wine, take public transport, or get on planes and turn right. He was a very, very wise man. But at least we're not as bad as MPs. After the parliamentary sleaze revelations, we now know that there are, well, the phrase has changed. It used to be lies, damn lies and statistics. Now it's lies, damn lies, statistics and MPs' expense claims. Or, given more recent events, I should say, lies, damned lies, statistics, MPs' expense claims, and whatever James Murdoch last told a parliamentary select committee about how much he definitely did not know about phone hacking at the News of the World. But this is all, well, this is all new. There's been a lot of change in the last year. This is what they like to call the new politics. We have a coalition government that represents far more of the country than if it would just been a Labour administration or a Tory administration. We have David Cameron and we have Nick Clegg, representatives from both sides of the political divide, Eton and Westminster. I was at that infamous press conference, you remember the one in the Rose Garden at number 10, it was a year ago last May now, the Brokeback Mountain press conference, as it's rather unpleasantly become known. To be fair, the whole thing did feel remarkably similar to when Prince William and Kate Middleton announced their engagement, I thought, only without the second-hand ring and rather more crying behind the scenes. But, I mean, 16 months on, I mean, life has certainly changed for the Prime Minister. I think he's probably, he feels he's grown into the role. But I think being in office has been slightly more of a mixed bag for Nick Clegg. The first time, you know, the impressionist Rory Bremner, first time he met Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister sort of gleefully said to him, "Oh, can you do me?" And Rory Bremner replied, "No, can you?" And I'm wondering, even after all this time, what do we actually know about Nick Clegg? He claims to have slept with 30 women. Not sure any of those 30 claim to have slept with him. We also know, I mean, we know he likes to get home at 3 o'clock to pick his kids up from school. Nice work if you can get it. We know he likes taxing people. Whether it's income tax, mansion tax, fuel duty, green taxes. It's not a party political matter, but really, he loves taxes. I've often thought that it would be much simpler, especially speaking ahead of the Lib Dem conference starting this weekend, if the Lib Dems just gave us a list of all the things they're not going to tax and they don't want to tax. I think it would just be, well, saving us all a lot of time. But while things I mean, they are tough for Nick Clegg. He's not one of the most popular men in the country. He's probably got more job security than most public sector employees right now. And I think unless he actually asked Chris Hume's wife to take his penalty points in the near future, he's probably safe for now. But I do think, I suppose, outside the government, if you look at the opposition, I mean, life's a bit hard for them too. Ed Miliband's first year as Labour leader has sort of hardly galvanised the nation's spirits. And of course, he got a bit of heckling at the TUC Congress this week. Although, interestingly, he has found time in the past year to have another child and get married since knifing his brother in the back for the party leadership. Interestingly, Ed, after having his second child, only took 2 weeks off for his paternity leave. 12 months on, of course, and David Miliband is still on his fraternity leave. But thinking back to last year, we did lose a lot of big beasts with the change of government. And it was a bit of a loss, I think, to us journalists. There's so many great characters from the Labour years, who we no longer get to have, you know, at the front of the political scene. That said, I can't say I miss Gordon Brown much. The most accurate thing I ever heard said about him was this, from a Labour minister. Gordon Brown is a control freak. The trouble with a control freak is that when they lose control, all you're left with is the freak. He also, because we lost Lord Mandelson, no, don't worry, he's not dead. They ran out of garlic, couldn't get the steak in far enough. But he's now busy decorating his new £8 million home. Who knew that public service paid so well? But extraordinary story I love about Lord Mandelson is that he told his fellow ministers, not his staff in his office, but fellow ministers around the cabinet table, that he didn't want his full title to be used among his cabinet colleagues because he had an absurd First Lord Secretary, this and that, a very complicated title. He said no, he just wanted to be known as, and I quote, plain Lord Mandelson. Modesty truly does make us the man. But the thing to remember for all these politicians is there is life for politicians after they leave office. And if the banking reforms don't actually ever happen, even by 2019, and Vince Cable does have to take what he calls the nuclear option and resign as business secretary, he, of course, will have a fine future on Strictly Come Dancing. The new series just started. He's done the Christmas show. I mean, he worked wonders for Anne Widdecombe. her career, you know, it's gone sky high since then. And they do famously say, of course, that politics is show business for ugly people. But now that old adage really has come true. I feel very unsisterly saying that, but remember around the time when Michael Howard was running for the party leadership the first time, and Anne Widdecombe completely ruined his chances by saying that he had something of the night about him. Rather cruelly, and not reported in the press at the time, a Labour MP remarked that Anne Widdecombe had something of the morning of the night before about her. Shame on me. Anyway, some people, though, do things a little bit differently. They go from TV stardom to serious politics instead of doing it the other way around. For instance, Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London. I have to say, I love Boris Johnson, but he is something of an enigma. He's turned out to be quite a good London mayor, I think, well, against most people's expectations, and I think even his own. And the thing about him is you can't quite work him out. Genius or buffoon? Who's to say? Ian Hislop, who knows him pretty well, once said, "People always ask me the same question. They say, is Boris a very, very clever man, pretending to be an idiot?" And I always say, no. Harsh but fair. But what's interesting, some of the politicians from the last regime, like Gordon Brown, have pretty much disappeared off the face of the planet. There are others we can't seem to get rid of. I name for one Lord Prescott of Pies, who's constantly tweeting and twittering all day long. And even when he was Deputy Prime Minister, he lasted 10 years, which I still think is a miracle that he could have lasted in frontline politics as long as he did. And it is no wonder, really, that he is so angry about phone hacking. He's one of the leading people on this, given what he got up to. And we all know about him and his diary secretary, Tracy Temple, and the old chipolata. But let me show you a little Westminster secret, which didn't come out at the time. When John Prescott got the call from the tabloid newspaper saying, "We're going to be exposing your affair with a member of your staff," he thought he better break it to our Pauline, she's always known, and break it to her gently before the newspaper dropped through the letterbox the next morning. So he sat Pauline down and he said, "Look, I've got to tell you that I've had an affair with a member of staff in my office. It's a one-off, it's all over, it'll never happen again, didn't happen to anyone else, and I'm really sorry, please don't leave me." Pauline, being the forgiving, loving woman she is, took him at his word and agreed. The next morning, the newspaper drops on the doorstep. And unfortunately, John Prescott hadn't been quite as clever as he thought he was, because when they did expose the affair with his diary secretary, Tracy Temple, trouble was, the affair he'd confessed to Pauline about was with a completely different woman. Someone, I think, spends many weeks in the back bedroom. But I mean, I was always amazed that he could ever have this success with the ladies. I mean, just look at him, for God's sake. But his sort of rough sort of bulldog demeanour in public is exactly what he is like in private. That is the reality. The first ever exchange I ever had with him was at a black tie bash at the Irish Embassy. And I was introduced to him by a member of staff who said, "Oh, this is Julia Hartley Brewer, disclosure to Sunday Express, Deputy Prime Minister." I said, "Oh, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, lovely to meet you." He goes, "You that bird who writes half the bloody Sunday Express every week?" I said, "Yes, any chance of an interview maybe to fill up the other half?" He looked me up and down with undisguised disdain and disgust and said, "Fuck off." I said, "I'll take that as a no." Okay. But there are some lively characters who somewhat go to replace John Prescott. I love, for instance, the local government secretary, Eric Pickles. You'll know who he is. I mean, bless him, though, he is on a permanent diet. Not that you'd know from looking at him. He's probably got the same issue that John Prescott had with the bulimia. But last time we spoke, he told me he was just getting down to his fighting weight of 17 stone. I said, "What's the diet you're on?" He said, "It's the no chips, no cheese, no seconds, no fun diet." He said, I said, "Why are you doing it? Trying to get all healthy and fit, you know, in government?" He said, "No, I want to be able to do fat jokes without the irony." Meanwhile, though, Tony Blair, of course, the biggest name of the last 30 years, he's been off earning a fortune while advising the world on how to bring peace to the Middle East. He's not a man troubled by a sense of irony, is he? But I'm always going to have a soft spot for him, because I once had a chat with him way back, and we were talking, 1998. I worked for the London Evening Standard as a cub reporter there. I was the only British journalist sent to cover a summit in Milan. You think, this is rather glamorous, going flying off to summits. I was the only British journalist sent. I knew I was, because I'm by far the worst dressed person in the city. And it was a socialist summit, and he was doing a speech, and basically it wasn't going to make it in the paper. The only chance I had at all of making it in the paper was if something pretty bad happened. I was on what's called falling down duty. And that means it's the last edition of the day, and if anything actually happens to the Prime Minister before 4 p.m, I'm going to have to actually write something. But that's only if he falls over, he gets a cream pie thrown in his face, or if you're really lucky, gets assassinated. So I was a bit desperate, and I texted Alistair Campbell and said, I'm stuck here on my own, and I was very junior, but any chance I could possibly get a story from you? He goes, no problem at all. Where are you? I said, I'm in the conference centre. He goes, oh, brilliant, I'll pop down. So Alistair Campbell appears, and he was the big wig at the time. He appears, and trailing behind him is the Prime Minister. Oh, hello, and what are you doing here? Well, I'm here covering your summit. He said, why are you here? He said, I mean, it's not going to be a very newsworthy speech. That's all, in case anything happens, Prime Minister. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, in case you get shot. And to his credit, he didn't hold it against me. He gave me a story, which I got in the paper, and he even let me hitch a ride home on his private jet after the event. I got to go in the motorcade with the Outriders, and then he also threw in an exclusive interview on the way home too, which is pretty good work for a cub reporter on their first foreign trip. But let me tell you this, there really aren't many things in life that are better fun than riding in a motorcade with the Prime Minister. The wrong way down one-way streets and roundabouts. Unless, I suppose, he's Silver Berlusconi, when the term Outriders probably means something a little bit different.